So the Celestials have been watching us for a long time. And about 100 years ago, they saw us begin the Industrial Revolution. And all of the pollution that immediately started to accumulate and accelerate with the process of industrialization. But then they saw us fighting World War II. These were kind of Roman-style wars over limited resources or territory. And then we made the atom bomb and then upgraded to the hydrogen bomb. And what we didn't know at the time, and which they communicated to us through the leadership, this has been kept secret from us, but Stephen Greer has told us, those nuclear detonations, they damage the very fabric of reality that we all live in. And I believe this is depicted in a crop circle. Here's the healthy fabric, undamaged. And then they depicted an alteration there in the fabric. You can see the reticulum or the network or whatever it is, it's torn there. And it's no longer whole. So that was the original one. And then one with a tear in it. Sometimes I think the crop circles they're detailing advanced physics and the powers that be on Earth don't want their magnificent corporate economy to be interfered with. So what was the solution the Celestials came up with? Well, they decided to give us everything. After they saw World War II and the invention of those weapons of mass destruction, they said, well, we will transfer to the humans so much technology, such advanced technology, there will be no further scarcity and nothing to fight over. So after the war, like, humans started shooting at the ET ships, then what they did is they made like an ark packed with technology, and they just put some golems or automatons on the ship so they didn't have to risk their own lives. And so those were sort of dummy people that they had piloting the ship, and they sent that to us, and they let us shoot that down and recover all the technology on board. And with that, there will be no further need for resource wars on planet Earth, because they have the technology to do whatever they need. That includes free energy, okay, physical materialization and transmutation of materials, and dematerialization, which could be used on a massive scale to clean up, for instance, our landfills, right? And of course, what would the devilish humans do? They'd probably weaponize that technology instead of using it for good. So in 1947, the ultra-national corporate elite, along with Majestic and the victors in World War II, they usurped the power of the presidency in the United States, and they absconded with all the advanced technology. And they kept it away from us, and they made a plan to commoditize these advanced technologies and release it to the public in monetized little crumbs, like a trail of crumbs. So instead of using technology transfer that could completely revolutionize the scientific community and our university system and our whole educational apparatus, they weaponized it and made it part of a program that might be similar to Admiral, what's his name's Total Information Awareness Program, OSHA. Poindexter, Admiral Poindexter. Okay, so that's a weaponized platform of surveillance used for the purposes of conflict of interest and espionage and warfare. So what is the result of all this? Technological retardation schedule, now being called the singularity. And they draw these beautiful asymptotic diagrams of accelerating technology, but the only technology we're allowed to use, it's all highly controlled by military powers jousting with each other, and it's all in the couch of this corporatized, monetized schedule where they're going to allow our standard of living to gradually increase. Where the Celestials, when they delivered that ark full of advanced technology, that was intended for everyone, and it was intended for immediate use to rescue the human race from extinction, because our pollution, they knew it was going to get worse and worse. And if you don't believe that, just look at all the plastic in the oceans. And as the rest of the world becomes a consumer economy like the United States, the amount of garbage that they're all consuming the way we do, that'll vastly increase. So letting military men and corporations control our destiny, this is very dangerous, and it's leading us to pretty scary territory. All right. So I want to show you there's another crop circle. I believe this is intended to demonstrate the fabric of the biosphere. You could consider that a system of many, many systems that are tied together. And you can see in these fields, they have depicted what appears to be a tattered fabric. You know, it looks like a hole. It looks like a rag with a bunch of holes that are beginning to appear in it. All right, and the nearby fields, they're not imprinted with this pattern. This is a deliberate pattern, and I believe it's a demonstration that the fabric of our biosphere is beginning to deteriorate. And they're trying to give us a very graphic demonstration of that. Here's kind of a zoomed in part of it. It looks like a tattered rag. And those patterns, that's about waist high. That crop that pattern is impressed into, that's about waist high there on a human being. So they're telling us, you people are in trouble. And right now, all the corporations, they buy all the politicians in the United States. They are servants of corporations, and they're not going to protect the environment. So we have to do it. We have to circumvent government and do this ourselves. My own analysis. The current human system is based upon conflict of interest. Government, media, advertising, education, these are all carefully modulated vehicles of lies. We live in a world of conditioned information where corporations can prosper and kind of feed off of the population. The governments and the corporations are like these mingling organisms that are parasitical and feeding off of the population. Solution: relinquish competitive systems, in my view. Introduce infinite supply economy. That's what would happen if we were all allowed to use the technologies the Celestials gave us. And where the supply of anything is infinite, its price falls to zero. So when everything is free, you have the post-money economy. We wouldn't have to buy things anymore. Everything would be free. So some of these crop circles, I believe they depict advanced physics. Here's one that looks like a simple circle fractal. All right. And it also, I believe, represents harmonics, harmonic interferometries. All right. Now, almost an identical diagram was shown by the physicist who was a mentor to Tesla. His name was Walter Russell. And these represented sort of quanta, harmonic quanta in light. And my childhood friend, I believe, was getting telepathic messages. And he made a sculpture that looks like a single cell in the simple circle fractal. It's exactly the same diagram. And he started getting other images that he created in a sculpture. And so I believe they are communicating with us telepathically. And I do believe the crop circles are showing physics. Okay, here's one. These are reciprocating standing wave patterns. One of them is inside out from the other. And they look a little bit like the cymatics which is a sonic object. And Stephen Greer is always talking about sonic quanta and interferometry in physical materialization in advanced physics that is being kept from us. And that's how the celestials materialize objects and complex devices whenever they need to. And we could do that instead of buying things. So that's about all I have for today. So not all the crop circles are beautiful. Some of them are depicting the degradation of our environment. You can see that clearly looks like a tattered fabric that's starting to fall apart. And that is the system of many systems which comprises our biosphere, and which is more fundamental than any national security. And it's a much higher priority than national security. So I'll stop there.